Da 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 da. Here we go. Da 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 da. Doma Sports Talk Worldwide coming at y'all. That was my best imitation of people that in the stadiums of soccer, football, or foosball games. I don't know what some of the people out there saying, but they do have a good time. They have a lot of stuff. And they have a lot of stuff synchronized, and they be together out there, the fans, right? But today we're going to talk about why I'm not a big fan of the German Bundesliga, right? Now, before I even get started, I am probably out there on an island by myself here because the German Bundesliga, in terms of the stadiums being full with fans, I think they're leading when you talk about fans that are buying tickets and going into the stadiums. One thing is the stadiums are nice. That's one thing. But obviously the people are loving what they're seeing. They're loving the product. So I can't, my opinion is just my opinion. I am not saying that I'm right by any means because obviously I'm not. But, since this is a channel where I give my opinion, I'm going to give my opinion. And so today is why I personally am not a fan of the German Bundesliga. And if you guys know, this channel started from domestic violence, so we're into injustices. So I don't like things that I just think are not fair. And the German Bundesliga fits under that because the German Bundesliga, I'll start right now with a stat that would show you what I'm talking about. Let's go from the last 20 years. The last 20 years, one team has won the title 13 times. 13 of the last 20. All right? That would be Bayern Munich, or like the Germans would say, Bayern München. They've won 13 of the last 20 titles. Right? So there's not that much parity there. And why I don't like it is because, you have a different in budgets. Like their budget, I'm just putting numbers out there. I don't know it exactly. I didn't research this before. Most of this stuff, I'm just know it or whatever. But, they have, like, let's say they would have 300 million. And the next team that's second would have 150. And then everybody goes down after that. So what happens here is Bayern's going to basically win every year, right? The German Bundesliga is Bayern against whatever team is playing above their normal level, right? Every year. This year, right now, everybody's excited because they've played 10 games so far, I think it is, and there's a team from Leipzig, RB Leipzig, right, who are tied with Bayern, and that's huge because that's by the 10th day of playing. After the 10th game, normally Bayern's already out by 4 or 5 points, or even more at some time. So you got a team from Leipzig who is hanging with them right now, right? And a lot of that has to do because Bayern, they're dancing on three weddings, what they like to say. And what I mean by that is Bayern plays the Bundesliga, they're playing the Champions League, and they're playing the Pokal. So they got three things that they're doing, right? So a lot of players can get hurt. They have to bring people from the bench and things like that. And Leipzig only can concentrate on the Bundesliga. But who cares how they're there? At least somebody is giving Bayern a little bit of headaches. Small headaches, I might add. They're not huge. Bayern knows after 36 games who's going to be on the top. And this is one of the reasons I don't like the Bundesliga. I won't say I won't like, but I'm not a huge fan. Let's be real. I'm going to tell you something else that I believe. Everybody that I've talked to, Bayern is always so strong that if they would just do this as an experiment, you take the people from Bayern's bench, 11 players. You got people like Julian Green from the States, he's an important player for the States. You got a dude named Coman from France coming from the bench. You got Rafinha from Brazil coming from the bench. I can't think of any right now, but they have a lot of bench players that if they would put those bench players in the league, let them play 36 games, I guarantee you their bench would make it to the Champions League, which means they would be one of the top 3 or 4. I think the fourth team in the Bundesliga has to play a playoff to get in the Champions League. They would be one of those top 4, right? And that's ridiculous. And it happens year after year after year. And here's what also irks me a little bit about the Bundesliga is when
a team rivals Bayern for over, let's say, 6 months to a year, then what Bayern does is two things. One, they'll just straight up buy the player, right? They straight up buy the player. Let's look at Dortmund. Dortmund was rivaling Bayern for a while. We talked about that, right? What happens? They take their best striker or stürmer, what they like to call him, Robert Lewandowski. They take him. Boom, he's gone. They take the guy that plays the best defender, Matt Hummels, right? They take him. He's gone. They took one of the young players, Mario Götze, and didn't even start him. They put him on the bench. Doesn't really matter. Main thing is that the other team doesn't have these players with these star power. So what Bayern does is either they buy them, right, because they really need them, or they buy them just because so you won't have them, right? And in some cases, what they would do is, because Bayern has the money to do this, so what they would do is they will at least just put the bug in a player's ear, right? So they can cause friction in the locker room. Somebody knows, wait a minute, I can make double the money somewhere else. Let's be real, everybody. Let's put on those empathy caps. If you can make double your money somewhere, you're probably going to do that. You're probably going to go and do that. You see, if it's on planet Earth somewhere, you can double your money. So that's what they do, and that causes friction in the locker room, and then you have the little chaos going on. So these are the things that they do, and I think that the league should do something about that. I think that they should come up with some kind of rule where they can't shop within that league, uh, within the Bundesliga. They need to address this problem some kind of way so you can get some kind of parity where teams are where Bayern has a rival. Because if they have more money, then they obviously are going to be better, right? There's going to be sometimes exceptions. But let's go back to the stat. From the last 20 years, they won 13 of them. So that's just too many. But they do have fans, right? And, the thing about it, too, is the Bundesliga, they have like about, if you're looking at world stars, they have about 3 or 4 of them where people all over the world would probably know these people. And I'm not talking if you're from their country. I'm talking about world stars that people know no matter where they're from. The Ronaldos, the Messis of the world, the Ibrahimovic, can't say his name real well. People know these names. So in the Bundesliga, you got a couple of names where I think people would know worldwide, but it's not that many. And all of them at Bayern. That's basically bottom line. Now Dortmund got one dude, Aubameyang. It's hard if I know Aubameyang. Hope I got his name right because the boy is bad. He's a striker from Dortmund. Uh, right now, who knows how long if he keeps doing what he's doing. But world stars, I say Ribery, Lewandowski, names like that. Maybe Philip Lahm, Thomas Müller. Bayern has all of those guys, right? The rest of the league, you pretty much don't have them. So those are the reasons that I'm not a big fan of the Bundesliga. Um, other leagues like Spain, Italy, and of course the Premier League, there's a little bit more going on in terms of parity. Spain doesn't have that many, but you got at least for Real Madrid, you have Barcelona, and then a little bit under that, Atletico and Valencia. Italy, they have AC Milan, Inter Milan, Juventus, you know. So there's 3 or 4 names of teams that are going to be at the top of the league, and we do not have to go into the Premier League because it's about 6 or 7 of them, or at least 5 or 6. So I would like to see that, and then then my antenna will go up, and then I would probably get a little bit more enthused about the Bundesliga. But as it is now, it's Bayern pretty much every year against whoever's doing good this year, and that's just nothing. There's a lot of sport going on in the world, and so that doesn't interest me personally. But hey, they're handling their business. They got their business doing real well. Like I told you before, the stadiums are full. So who cares what the hell I'm talking about, really, to be honest with you. But hey, those are my thoughts. Doma Sports Talk, worldwide, and we out.